In a quiet neighborhood in Portland, Oregon, there stood a small blue house at the end of Cedar Street. The house was simple but charming, with white wooden windows and a tiny garden filled with lavender flowers. Inside that house lived an old woman named Martha Green. Martha was 81 years old. Her gray hair was always neatly combed, and she wore warm knitted sweaters even when the weather was not very cold. Most people in the neighborhood knew her as the quiet widow who lived alone. Her husband, Robert, had passed away nearly 10 years earlier. Since then, the house had felt emptier. Every morning, Martha followed the same routine. She woke up early, made herself a cup of tea, and sat by the kitchen window while watching the street slowly come to life. Children walked to school. Neighbors left for work. Cars passed quietly. But when evening arrived, the silence in the house became very noticeable. Some nights Martha turned on the radio just to hear another voice in the room. One rainy night in November, something unexpected happened. The rain was falling heavily, and strong winds shook the trees outside. Martha had just finished washing the dishes when she heard a faint sound coming from the porch. At first she thought it might be the wind, but then she heard it again. A soft whimper. Martha slowly walked toward the front door and opened it slightly. On the porch, curled up in the corner, was a small dog. The poor animal was soaked from the rain and shivering from the cold. Its brown fur was muddy, and one of its legs looked injured. "Oh my goodness," Martha whispered. The dog looked up at her with tired eyes. For a moment, Martha hesitated. She had never owned a pet before. Robert had always been allergic to animals, so they never kept one in the house. But something about the dog's helpless expression touched her heart. "Come inside," she said softly. She gently lifted the dog and carried it into the kitchen. The animal was surprisingly light, as if it had not eaten properly for days. Martha wrapped the dog in a warm towel and placed it near the heater. Then she filled a small bowl with water and another with leftover chicken from the refrigerator. The dog ate slowly but gratefully. "Well," Martha said quietly, "it looks like you needed a place to stay tonight." The dog wagged its tail slightly. The next morning, Martha took the dog to a local veterinarian. The vet confirmed that the dog had a small injury on its leg but would recover with proper care. "No collar?" the veterinarian asked. Martha shook her head.
No.
"I think he might be a stray." The veterinarian smiled. "Then it's lucky he found you." Over the next few weeks, the dog recovered quickly. His fur became clean and shiny, and his energy returned. Martha decided to name him Charlie. Charlie soon became a constant companion. He followed Martha around the house, sat beside her while she drank tea, and wagged his tail every time she spoke to him. For the first time in years, the house felt alive again. Every afternoon, Martha and Charlie went for a walk through the neighborhood park. Neighbors began noticing the change in Martha. She smiled more often. She talked more. Even her posture seemed lighter. But Charlie had a strange habit. Sometimes, during their walks, he would suddenly pull the leash and try to lead Martha toward the nearby forest trail. "Not today, Charlie," Martha would say with a laugh. However, one day in early spring, Charlie insisted more strongly than usual. He barked softly and tugged the leash toward the forest path. Martha finally gave in. All right. Let's see what you're so excited about." They walked slowly along the quiet trail. Birds were singing in the trees, and sunlight filtered through the leaves. Charlie moved confidently, as if he knew exactly where he was going. After about 10 minutes, he stopped near a large fallen tree. Then he began digging gently at the ground. "Charlie, what are you doing?" Martha asked. Curious, she stepped closer. Partially buried in the dirt was a small metal box. Martha knelt down and carefully pulled it out. The box was old and slightly rusted. When she opened it, she gasped. Inside were several items: a wristwatch, a few photographs, and a folded piece of paper. The photographs showed a young soldier standing beside a woman and a little boy. Martha unfolded the paper carefully. It appeared to be a letter. The handwriting was faded, but still readable. The letter explained that the box had been buried many years earlier by a soldier who had planned to return home, but was unsure if he would survive the war. He had hidden the box near the forest as a way of leaving something behind for his family. Martha felt a chill run through her. "Charlie, how did you even find this?" Charlie simply wagged his tail. Later that week, Martha contacted the local historical office. After some research, they managed to locate the family of the soldier from the photographs. The soldier's son, now a grown man, came to meet Martha. When he saw the box and the photographs, tears filled his eyes. "I've been searching for this for years," he said. "My father told us about it before he passed away, but we never knew where it was." Martha smiled warmly. "Well, I think Charlie deserves the credit." The man bent down and gently patted Charlie's head. "You're a very special dog," he said. That evening, Martha sat by her kitchen window once again. Charlie lay peacefully beside her. The house no longer felt empty. Sometimes, the smallest unexpected moments can bring the greatest changes. And sometimes, all it takes is a lonely dog on a rainy night to remind someone that life still has surprises waiting.